Well, hello, folks, and welcome back to the Speed Street podcast. We are post Grand Prix of Long Beach. My name is Connor Daly, and I drive the number 76 for Juncos Hollinger Racing and Chevrolet. We were the Mankind Tired of Pricks car over the weekend, and well, it sucked a lot. It was really horrible. We're not waiting around to get into that at all. But the weekend was awesome. I think the fans, shout out to the fans and all the people that were there. The vibes were incredible. Chase, you can talk about a little bit about it as well. My co-host Chase Holden here.
Hola.
Chase was out there experiencing his first Grand Prix of Long Beach. We have a lot to talk about in this show. We get to talk with the winner, Kyle Kirkwood. We're going to go through the results of the race, talk a little bit about what happened to our vehicle. And kind of the differing strategies and what those how those played into the race. A lot of people's career days, some career best results for some drivers, some bad days as well for those like Joseph Newgarden. Really difficult day for him out there. But yeah, I ratings. We're going to talk about ratings. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about ratings. That's going to be an interesting discussion. So, Chase, give me your initial thoughts though on the Long Beach Grand Prix. I want to open it up to you because that was your first Long Beach Grand Prix. I thought the vibes were fantastic. The fans were incredible. The crowds every single day. Friday felt like a race day almost. Give us your thoughts.
I just got to say right off the cuff, the West Coast loves racing. Those fans that were packed in there at that race were so diverse, and they were all so excited about IndyCar. And I think for me that was a lot of the proving ground, right? Like you talk about, we'll get into ratings or whatever, but if you were there and you saw how many people were in attendance, you would have thought you were at an F1 race or a NASCAR. I got the Daytona 500. I mean, it was packed out, and you don't see that at a lot of motorsport events these days. But it was a very big event. It was the 50th anniversary of the Long Beach Grand Prix. The weather was so good, man. It was like the perfect mix of like cool in the morning, then it would get hot, and it would be like a nice warm temp. So there was no rain, there was no issues. Everyone was having a good time. A lot of great food. They had Foreigner. You guys got to see Foreigner on Saturday night, which was huge. That's a good old classic rock band. One of the tightest pit lanes I think I've ever experienced in my life. It was literally you had maybe about 10 to 12 inches of walking room. I say that just kind of being funny, but it was definitely tight.
That's true, though. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it is. It's just such a unique event, and there's so much for fans to do there. So I kind of wish we had more Long Beach Grand Prix style events with convention centers and pop-up tents and just things for everyone to do, and just so much racing action. The whole city was lively. Couldn't have asked for a better trip. And I was down there with the Grid Rival folks and doing some fun stuff with them. So it was just all around so good to where I wasn't even thinking about what the viewership on television was going to be, because I thought it was just already in the millions because of how many people that were there. So we'll put it that way. I loved it, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if you're there, you understand it. And I was scouring the internet and kind of I saw some TikToks pop up on my TikTok pages of folks that some folks that had come over from Formula One fandom and go to their kind of first Long Beach Grand Prix and nothing but great words. So love to see that. But yeah, we're going to get into kind of the effect of the race and the crowd and then the ratings a little bit. But let's just dive right into the results. I think I'll have to get producer Bobby to send us who we predicted, because I already forget who I predicted, but I know I predicted the winner,
Mine
and that
were
was
wrong.
Kyle Kirkwood. Yeah.
Yeah, mine were wrong. It was kind of a
Very
rough
wrong
one for me. Yeah, and
Well,
Joseph.
and I'm sorry about that, Chase. That's partially my fault. Actually, not well. Partially an issue on our vehicle, sadly. But let's just get right into the results. For those that maybe need just to catch up on the results page, Kyle Kirkwood is the winner. He dethrones Alex Palou. We finally found someone to dethrone Alex Palou. Christian Lundgaard had a fantastic race after throwing the car into the wall in qualifying, just trying to get that last little bit. That team did a fantastic job. Felix Rosenquist, another strong race for Felix. Really good effort from him. Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, kind of finally delivering some decent points results for the Penske squad. Colton Herta fell back a little bit. He had a couple struggles in that race. Scott Dixon made the alternate strategy work quite well. Stingray Robb, my teammate, great weekend for him. Great, I would say his best race of his life.
Shout out
led
to
12 laps. He showed that our cars truly had some great potential. Should things have not gone wrong, but yeah, great effort from Stingray. Great coverage for that car. Very, very happy for him. And yeah, that squad, the 77 squad, executed a perfect race when it comes to the strategy as well. Good for them. And Kiffin Simpson, shout out Kiffin, led 3 laps, top 10. I believe that's his best finish as well. Great day for that group. Again, no one made mistakes. They delivered. Santino Ferrucci started last, finished 11th. He was on that alternate strategy as well. Really good execution from those guys. And then we start to get to the folks that kind of fell a little bit backwards, due to strategy, due to whatever it was. Marcus Ericsson, Pato O'Ward, Marcus Armstrong, Alex Rossi dropped back quite a lot from his starting position. That team has struggled at Long Beach in the past, as I've felt it in my life. So that was a tough one for them, but great effort in qualifying from him. Louis Foster, David Malukas, Robert Schwartzman, Renus VK. The coin cars were definitely, Renus struggled. He's been fast at these street races, but tough. And then Nolan Siegel, poor guy, dealing with food poisoning. I didn't know that. I saw Nolan on the driver intro stage, looked okay, but man, food poisoning, that ain't no joke. We've talked to Stingray on this show about food poisoning. That's bad. So poor guy, that's tough. Callum Ilott, Graham Rahal, we figured out what was up with his car. We had something very similar happen on one of our pit stops. A bit of a false vent on the fuel system, which means that you don't get enough fuel into the car, and then you just basically, when you have a green race, you just have to save fuel the entire day, save way more than you expected, and it just, you just can't compete. Christian Rasmussen, 23rd, tough day for them. Not really sure what went on there, but tough day. Tough weekend overall for Devlin DiFrancesco. Then myself, one of the worst days I've ever had in my life. Jacob Abel, and then dead last, Joseph Newgarden. All cars finished, though. All cars finished. Crazy to see that. 0 attrition. All cars finishing. So let me get into a little bit about our weekend just real quick. But big struggle for us in the race. We had some issues on the very first pit stop, I believe, just not getting enough fuel in the car, which means that I then immediately had to make a very, very large fuel number, which means that you really just can't compete, because once you fall behind, it's really hard to get those laps back. So it was either the first or this, I believe it was the first stop, maybe the second stop. I got to get for sure, but we definitely found 2 or 3 issues on our fuel calculations and our fuel system that just, again, that already takes you out of the race. But then we had another technical issue on our side, in the suspension that was, very limiting for us. So everything that went wrong basically could have gone wrong. If we would have got a yellow and there was some attrition, maybe you try to do something, but we just purely could not fight because of the way that the car was handling and the way that the suspension, we had some internal issues there. And again, these things happen, right? Like this is no fault of the team. I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, maybe on some adjustments and some stuff that just did not function correctly. And again, we did everything we could do to fix it. Did everything we could do in the race to try. If we got a yellow, we were going to go under the hood. We were going to get in there and start really wrenching on it and try to make some serious adjustments, because we were terminally ill, I would say, in the in that race.
Did you feel that way on Saturday at all? Like, was there anything that kind of crept up to it, or was it all just kind of like a big hit on Sunday?
No, it was honestly, we thought we were making progress. Qualifying was not good for either car, but I think we kind of knew why. And then the warm-up, we thought we made good progress. But again, these issues kind of snuck up on us in the race, and it was impossible to fix. So
sure,
you have to be in the right window. We had some issues that we had not seen before, and we could not predict. So again, at that point, it becomes, for me, and Kyle talks a little bit about it in the interview when we talked to Kyle, but you could visually see it in my car when Kyle came up on me. And after we watched the onboard video, almost uncontrollable bouncing for me in the car, so much so that my helmet starts to like move, and your vision almost gets a little bit blurry because of the bouncing that was going on. And if you listen to my radio, I had a few different words to describe it, but yeah, just a shame, because again, the team deserved a great result, and they got it with Stingray, which is awesome. Great. I'm very happy for the team. These results are, I believe, coming for our group. We know why, we had our issues, and, we can eliminate that problem in the future. Obviously gave the haters some great fuel. We totally understand it, but it doesn't really bother me, because you guys literally have no idea what's going on inside the car, and these things happen. So you're always bound to have some race like that where something just goes wrong and you can't get around it. And we had that happen to us, sadly. So just too many issues to fight through for us. And we basically just had to get the car to come home and in one piece. But that was brutal mentally for me, because I really, as you saw in last week's show, I was highly optimistic about this weekend, and we just were not able to execute. It's a real shame, and our team is, they're busting their butts to give us, good cars. The 77 did a great job executing that. So hopefully we can do that at Barber. I think, it's just hard, man. You're only as good as your last race, people always say, and everyone's got such a short attention span. So, terrible. But like, you got to look at what actually happens. I mean, it's something that, I'm here to explain on the pod. And again, the haters don't listen to the podcast, because that's just obviously not. But
too many other things going on.
We just had some things going on that were, not fixable. So these things happen in racing. I had to get the car to the end, and we did that safely. But yeah, just a tough day for me, and hated it for our sponsor, Mankind, as well. But they will be back on the car for another 2 races, so we'll be able to get them a better result later in the year. So yeah, that was what went on for us. Crazy to see no yellows once again. That was a
That's
wild
the big
one. Yeah, big one. Let's talk a little bit more about the race itself. I just watched it back. I watched it this morning before we recorded this show. My impressions, honestly, I didn't know what to think when I got out of the car. I was like, oh, no yellows. Maybe it was boring. I thought it was great. I watched the race, and I'm, the differing strategies you had. I mean, you had Stingray leading the race, and you had Kiffin leading the race. You had, and some people ran their greens on the second stint, and then, Stingray and he waited towards the end. So I thought, and even the tires being, cold tire outlaps, great trains of cars battling each other out of the pits. And I thought Fox did a great job in capturing all of that. And the driver's eye cameras, I thought those were fantastic.
Dear God,
very high quality cameras in the driver's seat. I don't know. I mean, we're going to talk about the ratings, but I thought it was a great broadcast, and I thought it was a great race to watch. I don't know what else you want in a street course. Obviously, the pole sitter won, and Kyle did a great job doing that. But they had to execute. Kyle had to defend from Palou on an outlap on the last pit stop. It was fantastic there. I mean, I don't know what else you can want out of a street course race, because I enjoyed watching it, and I didn't expect to enjoy watching it, honestly. Knowing how it worked out and knowing that, there were only 6 cars that were on the different strategy, I thought it was great. I mean, what do you think, Chase?
A racing purist's race dream, honestly. Like watching that watching it, I was in the media center for the most part because when you're out there, you really can't see much unless you're in like one sector. So I always like to be in front of a television so I can see what's happening at all times. And I was watching a lot of that race. And for me, I love strategy. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching everyone coming out of the pits. Like, okay, who's going what, who's going where. The tire strategy is interesting. I feel like a lot of people are really going to switch up how they run greens if they run them again. So it's, and it was a race that was really kind of like you said earlier, it's like kind of upside down. So I think that, for the most part, everything is right and lined up for the true race fan coming in. Now, for a lot of the new fans and the casual fans that may be trying to find something to hold on to watch, they nailed it with that in-car camera. That in-car camera is one of the most, pardon my French, badass views I think we have in motorsport across the board right now. It's so cutting edge. It's so futuristic looking in its own way. And I've seen F1. They have kind of like a similar view, but there's just
ours is much higher quality.
Yes.
I thought ours is much higher quality than Formula One. And the reason why I think that happens is because I believe the Formula One teams, they mandate that the TV broadcast blurs the dash of the car, I think, as well. Or
we don't have that problem.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but you can see everything going on the driver's dash. And you can notice how all of a sudden, hey, guess what? Every team has a different dash setup because you can build whatever you want on the dash. You could put a bunch of weird internet GIFs on the dash if you wanted. You could just basically throw whatever you want on that dash. You can build whatever you want onto that dash, and that gives the fans a perspective of like, oh, why is Will Power's dash different to Kyle Kirkwood's dash? Why does that flash a certain color and Pato O'Ward's doesn't? I thought that was fantastic. So
a lot of questions created.
Yeah. So I'm right there with you. I think I don't. Oh man, this is a tough one to talk about because we obviously saw the ratings and they were objectively they're not good, right, for network television, but they were up. They were up from Long. Yeah, but they're up for Long Beach over last year, of course. But this is a network TV race, so it's much different. But I think we get back to, I see all the hater tweets. I mean, I study the internet. My For You pages are hilarious because they're no one that I follow. It's just people that I've looked at like some of the opinions, and I like to dive into, hey, why do people say this or what's going on? And I just saw this tweet now from Nathan Brown. The Grand Prix of Long Beach says weekend attendance eclipsed 200,000, which is a modern era record. An exact figure wasn't stated, but last year's weekend attendance totaled 194,000. Guess what? That's a lot of people. And again, if you're there, you think IndyCar is booming. It's tons of people wearing merch, mainly Pato merch, but that's fine. They're wearing merch.
Shout out.
I mean, I again, for me personally, when I watch it, and we've been pretty honest on this show, we've talked about what Fox needed to improve. They took another step forward this weekend. I think we saw a great race product. I think the commentators did a great job. I think we saw some different leaders. We saw different strategies playing out. I think I think, now this is my opinion. Product, I believe, is truly not the problem. I think that the tires, I do believe that the street course green tire needs to be one ounce better. Because I think if you had a real question of whether you need to start on greens or primaries, That would, and if a driver could save the tire maybe a little bit and make it work, maybe that would be cool. Sadly, with this green tire currently, and we saw this very, very obviously in both St. Pete and this event, people tried to make it work in St. Pete. It just did not last more than 10, 15 laps. People tried to make it work maybe in Long Beach, and I was on lap 5, maybe lap 6, and when the tires go off, they go off at the snap of your finger. Like I passed Louis Foster on the outside. I was like, all right, here we go. My car, I was struggling a little bit, but once they went off, they go off very rapidly. Like you have to pit immediately or else you're going to lose many, many seconds.
And that's so tough.
Very tough to make happen, but it also limits you. You can't be, a tire saving hero and be like, oh, I actually made my tires last 30 laps instead of, we made it a 2-stop race. So I think if we bring the green tires maybe a little bit closer, then you do see some differing strategies, and you can maybe see some people trying to make it work. But, that's my only comment there. But other than that, I mean, unless you force, you have like competition cautions, which obviously that's not the history of IndyCar. We're not going to go there. But I thought it was a good race to watch, and I thought that there was overtaking. I mean, we saw a move for the podium with 5 laps to go on Lundgaard and Felix Rosenqvist. I mean,
yeah,
that's a big deal. So I personally think, though, when you look at the internet now, and we all look at the internet. Right? You're here listening on the internet or watching on the internet. The only thing I saw was Masters all weekend, and like I listened to the Pardon My Take podcast, which is basically the #1 sports podcast in the world. Obviously, it's Barstool Sports. Some people, I'm sure, will listen to it. Some people don't. But it is the #1 sports podcast, essentially, in the world. All those guys talk, it's Masters. And then they have such large followings that, everyone else tunes it. Masters. And even Kyle Kirkwood talks about it. Masters. And it was a great, I like golf. I like to play golf. I don't really necessarily watch a ton of golf on the television, but I've certainly enjoyed watching the Masters before. And they got absurd numbers on television, and again, sort of going up against NASCAR too. I mean, even NASCAR had a huge drop in ratings for them as well. So it's a really tough. Everyone is basically
once a year.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's basically crucifying IndyCar on the internet, and I mean, I guess you can do that, but like, it's so old now to me. I know that everyone wants to see something better, but if you guys have a solution that's reasonable, everyone has a solution for this problem, but it's not reasonable. Like you can't just go like no one's like there. A lot of people have suggestions that are like, okay, where's your $1 billion that we can do that with? You know what I mean? And again, Roger Penske, very wealthy, Penske Entertainment, they're a big group, and Fox, obviously, very large group. Fox is advertising the crap out of this sport. I will say. I mean, we're seeing it at gas stations. I'm seeing it in commercials, and I like the commercials. I do love what they're doing. And even like I was on the plane last night coming home, and the race is being replayed immediately on FS1. Like I'm watching it. I see, boom, race replay right on YouTube right here. I'm going to watch that on YouTube. It's great that the races are immediately on YouTube. So
they're doing their job. They're doing their job. It's people.
Exactly. But I truly believe that scheduling right now, I believe, is the biggest issue. I don't believe going 3 weeks in between races, and everyone talks about this, but we can't fix it right now. I'm sorry, but you cannot fix it right now. I don't believe, I do hope we can fix it in the future, because I think that's a major issue. But I still don't believe, and you can disagree with me, I don't believe the product is the problem. I thought there was great racing at Thermal. I think the broadcast maybe wasn't the greatest at Thermal, but they improved it, smacked everyone in the face with a great broadcast, I think, in Long Beach. And I think the scheduling for sure in the future needs to be fixed. But again, now we're 3 races in. Okay, 3 races. We did way better than we did last year with Long Beach. Once we get to the month of May, I know that this is far too positive for people, but we're in the car like 12 weeks in a row from the month of May on, and that's Fox. I mean, that's network, and yeah, I believe that leadership knows that we're kind of locked into what we got right now. And once we get to the month of May, maybe we see a big uptick. But again, the crowd at Long Beach, the vibes at Long Beach, goodness gracious, I thought it was huge. I had some people that came to their very first IndyCar race, and they were there with me, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the coolest thing. We have become IndyCar fans overnight. Like, this is something that is outstanding." But then I hear things like, I was at the airport on the way home, and a guy who recognized me before my flight, he was like, "Where are you coming? Where are you going home from?" And I was like, "We raced in Long Beach yesterday." It's so you still have those moments of like just pure and general lack of awareness that IndyCar exists other than the Indy 500, and we're up against that every weekend. But I don't believe the baloney that it's like, oh well, the racing isn't that great. I'm sorry, but
no,
that race is way better than the F1 race. And I like it's if you're looking for pure motor racing, I don't think that you're street course motor racing, open wheel racing, competitive. That's what we saw at Long Beach. So I'll go to the grave with that one there. But
let's die on the hill together, dude. We're gonna die on that hill. It's not the racing product. I'm gonna tell you what it is right now, and I'm confident enough to say that I know what it is. It's hype. That is all that it is.
Internet hype.
You can create hype around one singular object. It will take it anywhere you need to go. And the more people start to understand that in this fan base, the more we all work together to get it where we want it to go. Then you don't have to complain anymore. And it's that simple. You saw what happened with F1. You kind of saw what happened with NASCAR. It's not just going to be handed to you, though. You got to create the hype. Once that's created, boom.
And it's mainly just general public hype. Like, it's like, oh, hey, we got to watch that. You know what I mean? You create it with the people that were there. Seeing some videos on the internet, like, oh my gosh, we went to our first IndyCar race. This is the coolest thing ever.
Have fun with it.
Friends that I brought, like, oh, this is crazy. And you can see the general react. A buddy of mine, Ross Smith, and Granny, his grandmother. They got Ross Smith. If you don't follow him on the internet. Him and his 98-year-old grandmother, they've been making hilarious videos on the internet for years. And Ross has they got like 28 million TikTok followers. He's got like 4 million Instagram followers, a ton of followers. I met him at Travis Pastrana's house. Great guy. He came to his first IndyCar race with Granny, and he was like, this is awesome. Like, the people were all, IndyCar took care of him really well. Shout out to the series. I got him. I was like, dude, you got to come to this race. He's like, okay, well, what can we do there? IndyCar let him make some great content there. I mean, it's just pure awareness. Just get it to people, but you have to keep their attention too. And now we got another 3 weeks before our next race, and I'm like, oh gosh, like that's
maybe that a little bit too
is a problem. I completely agree that is a problem because you had over 200,000 people there. And you need all 200,000 of those people to be like, well, when can we watch the next race?
Where's Barber? It's time for Barber.
It's time for Barber. So I could go on about this for a long time, but I truly believe that Fox did a great job. I love the driver's eye cam. I thought it was really cool. You could, the push to pass graphic maybe needs to be a little bit slightly improved so you can see it a little bit better. But the driver intros was awesome, like with the cars that having the car with the driver. I thought that was great. Man, the strategy was fun. So again, people are going to debate this for a long time. I think it's become like a fun thing for people to do on the internet to just give IndyCar a bunch of crap. And honestly, I don't understand it. Like,
if it gets a reaction,
really
they'll do it.
I'm very honest with, I think, this audience, and I'm pretty honest with our fan base. Like, if something is bad, I think we agree on it. But I just think you need to still hit the mainstream internet hype folks hard. Like, we got to buy, and you can debate this, but you got to buy time on Pardon My Take. Like, NASCAR did it. You got, like, that podcast is so powerful, and it's, a lot of people don't listen to it, but actually, a lot of people do listen to it. Sorry. There's a ton of people that listen to this podcast. It's so popular. But those are sports fans that are looking for sports right now, right? There's they mainly focus on the NFL, but they talk about all the sports. We need to inject ourselves into these sports fans that I think want to. There are, how many people watch the Masters? Like 12 million. That's so many people. How many people still watch NASCAR over the weekend? Over 2 million people. And we can never go against NASCAR. I think that's one thing that we just always have to go. We've talked about it before, but yeah, I think we got to inject ourselves. We got to inject ourselves into internet hype more. We got to inject ourselves into the people that are just talking about sports constantly on Twitter, and doing TV spots on whatever the Fox morning programs are. That's great. But you're right, Chase, with internet hype, and gosh, I hope we can get there, because I think Long Beach was a great race. It was one of the worst days of my life, but it was a great race to watch. And Barber, I think, could be great too. And Indy GP, I think, is a great road race. And Barber, obviously we know the Indy 500 is going to be awesome.
I'm excited about Barber. Barber's kind of like low key. Like I called it a couple weeks ago. If it has never been this before, I want to make it this now. The Talladega of IndyCar. Like, let's just get a little wild out there, Barber. Fans. Like, let's just have a good time. We got Georgina falling off of things last year. There's already kind of this meme culture brewing around Barber, and I feel like, hey, it's new. Let it take shape. Like, yes. Let's see what happens. Let's have some fun with it. I love it.
Yeah, it's just a tough one to read. I saw people's like preemptive tweets about like, oh, can't wait to see the ratings. I'm like, yeah, no, like we get it, but
it's getting repetitive.
Yeah, it's I understand it. I think a lot of the fans speak from a passionate side because they want to see it, but when you start to contribute to the problem of just constant, just constant berating and bashing. I mean, I saw a driver in Kyle Kirkwood execute a perfect race, defend when he needed to. Guys have their best runs of their career. There was just so much there that I don't think the product is the problem. It's still just forcing it into people's eyes, and we need a new car. We need all this stuff. I'm like, okay, 81,000 people watched the IMSA race with all the coolest cars in the world, essentially, on USA Network. Now, again, you can argue with me on that because they have 800,000 subscribers on YouTube and they broadcast it live on YouTube to the world. That I love. Like that is awesome.
It's pretty cool.
But I don't cool cars, television audience. It's an interesting debate for me because I love IMSA and I want to do IMSA races. I think they've done a great job. Like the cars are some of the coolest cars ever. They're the coolest sounding cars ever. But that's obviously not creating a television audience. So, do those manufacturers purely look at the YouTube channel and be like, okay, hey, we've got 800,000 subscribers and there's a lot of good YouTube numbers. I don't know the data on that, but there must be something there because obviously manufacturers are spending a lot of money on giant pit boxes and really cool cars, and there's not a lot of really corporate sponsors on the prototype cars. It's just it's manufacturers and some of their partners, right? But you need that in sport. We're obviously looking for new manufacturers. So again, that's something that's just a purely opinionated thing. I'm like 81,000 people watch the IMSA race on USA Network, which again, Penske's won all the races so far, which I find that kind of, that's tough. I have a lot of good friends in IMSA right now and a lot of, love those guys. And I would love to see, maybe Penske's just doing a better job than everyone else. I'm not sure. Clearly they are. But it seems wild that they're just destroying everyone in that series. But, no one really – I don't see anyone, I guess, throwing anything bad at them because I think there's so much cool stuff going on too, right? You see cool cars, great-sounding vehicles, and maybe YouTube is the key. Maybe the fact that the whole world can watch it on YouTube, maybe that's it. I don't know. It's a question to the folks that are listening to this.
It's multifaceted, for sure.
Yeah, because I think that's a fascinating thing to see because you're like, oh, that's tough. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, Chase, do you think it's all on YouTube? Is YouTube the answer?
I don't really know if the single thing is the answer. What I think it is a mixture of a couple of different things, hype being one of the big ones.
Yep.
And I just feel like as we keep trucking along, be more positive than negative if you are a fan of this sport is what I would say. Because if you're contributing to the negatives, then it's just going to stay that way in your mindset. But there is just it's a little melting pot, and like I said, I've given it out on this show. I feel like it's going to take a few years, but in a few years, it's going to be popping. And I'm here for the ride. I'm here to ride the wave. You mentioned they had the car with the driver graphic. That was something we saw a couple weeks ago. That whole I put something out where it was like the whole Darlington throwback thing. I was like, try that. Like that's kind of cool. So they're doing things like they are not afraid to take some chances, and that's where it all begins. We're in the very beginning of this, guys. Grab on, ride the wave. Let's go moon.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, it's okay to be negative if there's really something that deserves to be like negative. Like it's cool. Like everyone has an opinion. Like that's cool, but to just trash something because like other people are doing it that don't really know, I guess, truly what's going on. Because, like, again, you go to that event,
mindset.
You see an insane crowd. It's awesome. Again, Kyle Kirkwood mentions it. Like, you couldn't walk out of your truck without getting absolutely swamped with fans. Felt like a pretty big event to me.
I saw that with my own eyes.
And then I watched the race. And again, I'm pretty objective. I'm going to be honest with what we need to do better. I thought it was a great race. And again,
it was a great race. It was a great race.
I understand that everyone has a problem with the ratings that are our fans, and look, I do too, because the only reason I can sell, that people are able to sell more sponsorship is with more ratings, right? We need more television ratings. I think that's super important. But again, I don't, and I understand why people were negative about thermal. Fans couldn't go to the track, and people hate thermal just because they hate it. Because I hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I thought it was a great race, but like I hate that I'm not rich, so like I get that. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be sweet. Yeah, I wish I had a multi-million-dollar house and a garage full of supercars. That's awesome. That would be sweet. But
that's understandable.
But Long Beach is for the people, right? Everyone was there. People there every single day. So many human beings. So many people from different backgrounds as well, like you mentioned. I mean, it's just, yeah. So anyway, that's we could go on about this for forever,
boys. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, the strategy play was great. I had a great dinner with two Marcuses on Sunday night after the race as well. Ooh. Marcus Armstrong and Marcus Erickson.
How was that?
Great to chat with those guys and have a couple cocktails with them. I thought, again, those guys had tough days, but it's one of those things that good to get together with the boys and have a chat. Shout out Marcus Armstrong's dad too, great guy. Got to chat with him there, and he was kind enough to buy us dinner. So shout out to Marcus Armstrong's dad, great guy, and yeah. I think with that we just need to get to Kyle Kirkwood. I think that I've expressed a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my feelings.
Good.
Let me take a look at my news sheet real quick to see if there was anything else. Some great celebrities attended the event. I don't know if you saw some people there, Chase, but Coach Jim Harbaugh was there. Coach Jim Harbaugh, good friend of mine, my family's. Really good to see Jim there, Coach. Such a great guy, such a passionate IndyCar fan. I don't know if you guys saw the Instagram story, but he wants to be on the podcast. I don't know if you saw that, Chase.
I heard that.
Jim Harbaugh will be on the Speed Street podcast at some point, it sounds like, which is very, very exciting. So we're going to have Coach Harbaugh on this show at some point, which I'm very, very excited about. The Ohio State fans will not be excited about that, but I'm sorry. I like Coach Jim. I've got two of his signed helmets here at my house. He used to be an IndyCar co-owner of a team, Panther Racing, back in the day.
Hell of a guy.
So that big IndyCar guy, big IndyCar fan. And just what a weekend. What a weekend. So
it was fun.
I think with that, I want to mention really quick Joseph Newgarden's issues. seatbelts coming undone. What is Penske doing with their seatbelts?
Yeah, that's the second time.
I have no idea. I've never in my entire life, and I've been racing now a long time, a lot of races, I've never had my seatbelts come undone. And I don't know if they've got some wild lightweight seatbelts or something, or they're seated in a position to where it's good for the center of gravity and the weight distribution to where they have to be in a certain spot, and it gets their arms like in the hairpin. I believe James Hinchcliffe mentioned this in the broadcast, but the hairpin, you do get all crossed up with your arms. You really almost have to take one hand off the wheel to get that corner accomplished. But man, seatbelts coming undone, ruining your day. I mean,
that was willpower.
Willpower in Nashville Nashville. I mean, that's just, it's very hard to believe, very dangerous, honestly, and very hard to believe. So Joseph, I was pitted next to him at the race, and I'll tell you what, I was upset after the race, but boy, he was very, very unhappy.
I can imagine.
So that was a weird one. Curious to see how, those guys, I mean, Joseph's almost fallen out of the top 10 in the championship. That's going to be a tough fight back. But those guys are capable, so we'll see what happens. But with that, let's get to Kyle Kirkwood. I think we've covered a lot about this race, and I feel like we've had a good discussion about it. But Kyle Kirkwood is a fantastic interview. We're gonna chat with him, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this week we have another race winner. Thank God we have a new race winner. We have someone who dethroned Alex Palou. We found a savior to our series who has made it exciting again. Actually, it's been exciting all year long. Alex Palou's done a great job, but thank you. Kyle Kirkwood, Long Beach winner again, a multiple-time Long Beach winner. And you had a new sponsor on the side pod. Andretti does a great job in bringing in new sponsors, and they all of a sudden win the first race that they're on the side of the car. So congrats to you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a good weekend. We had that new sponsor this weekend. It was Prefab, and they're part of Yazaki. Yazaki's been with us now, I think, since the 500 last year. That is also one of their companies, and it's a part of a local group that's in the Newport Beach area. So it was kind of a home race for them, home race for Honda. Kind of feels like a home race for Andretti with the success that they've had there. So it's a really good weekend, to say the least.
I would also like to point out that I believe producer Bobby can confirm this, but I did pick you and Colton in my top 3 picks for the weekend, going into the weekend. So I'd like to maybe pat myself on the back for recognizing what was going on here. So congrats. But you guys, honestly, you guys had dominance right out the gate. I mean, the pole lap you put together as well you made everyone look silly. Massive gap from the P1 lap to P2. Just explain what gives you so much confidence in these Andretti cars at specifically street courses, but more importantly, Long Beach.
Yeah, I mean, street courses in general, everybody knows that Andretti's been really, really good at in recent years, or longer for that matter, right? If you look back to early 2000s, I mean, they were amazing at street courses. So that's been very historic of Andretti to be very fast around street courses, and it's due to the development that they do, right? As everyone knows, the name of the game in IndyCar is damper development. And if you can make grip places, especially the places that is bumpy and the tire likes to jump off the ground, you're going to go faster. So that's something that they thrive in. It's something that they've worked very hard on, and they continue to work hard on, right? I feel like every time we come back, everyone's bettering themselves. But Andretti always kind of just stays a little bit ahead when it comes to the street courses. And I mean, Long Beach is a special one to the team, and I couldn't really tell you why we're so good there. I actually would rate Long Beach as potentially the third best track that we go to. I think Toronto and Detroit are actually 2 of our better circuits. It's just Long Beach is a much more straightforward race, and it typically produces less tire drag than the other street courses, right? And I would say for us, tire drag is probably not our strong suit. So maybe that's why it looks a little bit better when it comes to race time. But yeah, Andretti in general, just really good at street courses. It gives you confidence when you have a lot of grip, and it makes for a much easier weekend when you roll out of the truck, just knowing that you got a little bit extra.
Yeah, and I mean, it's cool that you recognize, the team's job, and like you said it in your qualifying interview. You're like, hey, I just feel lucky to drive this Andretti car here at a street course, because I think I watch, we watched you had the driver's eye camera. You're looking at your steering inputs. You're looking at the confidence you have on the brakes. I mean, everything there just seems to work correctly. And as a driver, that's what you dream of, right? You just like, hey, it becomes almost slightly easier for you to do your job when the car is working that well.
Oh, it makes your life so much easier. I mean, maybe better than anyone else. You've been through every single car in the paddock. I feel like, where, yep. and I look back at my Foyt days, right? And I remember there's times on street courses that I'm like scratching the top 20s, right? And you end up just over pushing, and it spirals.
You didn't forget how to drive back then.
No, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, right? You feel like you forget how to drive. Yeah. That's for sure, because you're pushing so hard that you're going over the limit. And when you have something that's just fast, you tend to go probably under the limit, and it's just really, really fast. And that's kind of what it feels like in an Andretti car at street courses in specific, where when you know that you have the car and kind of everything, of course, there's anomalies where it's like, you still need to work on the car, you still need to get things better. But most often than not, you roll off the truck really, really fast, and you kind of just push to what the car allows you to do. And it kind of guarantees you a very, very fast lap or a very, very fast race car. Where for other cars, it might not, you can't really say the same. And that's for us too. Some places we go, right? Like some road courses, some ovals, you push the living hell out of the car, and you're like P18, and you're like, I forgot how to drive. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I suck. But no, street courses, you tend to not feel that way when you're in an Andretti car.
Well, it's obviously nice to get the year kicked off so early with a win. But now we're going back to a tough road course at Barber. We've got another tough road course, Indy GP. You don't have a street course until after the 500. But this obviously sets you up probably. You guys have had a great start to the season. Two decent races, as you mentioned, good solid finishes. Now we got a win, so you're in the points fight. But you still have to tackle Palou. I mean, he's got first, second, which again, they did a great job. You guys were just a little bit better, and he tried. I just finished watching the race. I watched it back. That last stop when you came out on cold tires in front of him, I was like, oh man, I didn't know it was this close. I obviously had no idea what was going on. But man, you were good on cold tires and kept them behind. And that for me is the moment of the race. I think Fox used it as their moment of the race as well. Very impressive work there for sure. I mean, that's what you have to do to be successful at these races.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't anticipating him being that close either, right? So kind of the whole what transpired there in that portion of the race was or at least I'll just kind of give you the rundown. Every stop that we did, we were a lap ahead of Palou, right? The first stop, we saved our soft tires up a little bit extra, leading the race, right? You tend to save tires a little bit more. And we were going to stop on the same lap as Palou, but I was like, hey, listen, like we can go another lap. And I know how powerful that overcut is at pretty much every street course that we go to, right? Like Long Beach is one of them. St. Pete's definitely one of them. And I knew that we needed to capitalize a little bit on that. So we went that extra lap from the beginning. And then that's kind of, we always did that. We actually had maybe another lap available to us in the next two stops. But the problem is we'd run into the back of traffic that we're on out laps, right? So what actually happened, I think on that stop, was Palou caught up to me, and I'm not sure who else was right in front of us.
It was a train of cars, because like I saw it as well. You guys had to kind of avoid that train of cars.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so sorry, this was the last stop. The last stop we actually caught up to, I think it was like Santino and Marcus Erickson, and I kind of caught them right before we pitted. It didn't really cost me any time, but we kind of had a bit of a slow pit stop, and it for some reason fuel took a lot longer than expected. For no apparent reason to us at this time, but. And next thing you know, I'm coming out, and you can kind of watch, right? When you're leaving pit lane, you look in your mirror and you like know exactly who you're racing. In the previous 2 stops, Palou wasn't in my mirror, right? But he still caught up to me. And then it's the last stop, and I see him coming into the brake zone of turn 1 as I'm like turning out of the pit exit right there. And I'm like, this is gonna be a battle, right? I knew I was gonna have to like back him up and get runs down the straight so he couldn't pass me. And you're full of fuel, you're bottoming, you're going slower on the straights because of that stuff. And it was definitely a send, in simple words, because him on cold tires is good, but him with an extra lap than you, with some heat. That makes things extra tough. And I mean, I was fortunate to hold him off because it was very, very close. And if he would have gotten in front of me, that it would have been race over. It would have been the same exact thing that he had happened, right? It was a track position race. Whoever was leading, whoever kind of controlled the strategy there was going to win, because we were running pretty much identical lap times to each other. And you just can't pass when it's like that unless there's a mistake or traffic holds you up or whatnot. So it really just came down to the pit stops and what worked and making sure you actually had good and clean and fast pit stops.
Yeah, it was impressive to watch, honestly. I'm glad I took a couple hours to watch this morning. Just this is the first year I've watched like every race back. and just because I like seeing what Fox is doing too, but I was like, dang, that was an impressive last stint. So that's what I will say. I'll let Chase jump in here now as well.
Yeah, Kyle, I have to ask, you've really got it done on the streets. And before were this IndyCar street star, street shark, street merchant, whatever you want to call yourself, were there ever any like pre-training days? Were you ever running the streets like, when you're not supposed to be street racing? Were you ever doing a little bit of street racing, watching Fast and the Furious with the boys?
No, you know what I attribute it to is actually karting. I drove a lot at Supernats. I always did like 2 categories there. Homestead was another track that in early days, it was just barriers around. So you had to get comfortable. And I tell you what, hitting a wall in a go-kart hurts a lot worse than hitting a wall in an IndyCar. So you learn pretty quick that if you touch one of those walls, you're going to get hurt. So most of those tracks that we went to, it wasn't just tech pros, right? They would have these tech pros and they fill them with water. So it's like an unmovable object in a 300-pound go-kart. So, that's mostly what I attribute it to. I was always good at the temporary circuits in karting as well. So, I guess it corresponds indirectly with that, but no street racing. I wasn't in Palm Beach County drifting around with my buddies. Okay. That was not what I was doing.
So you kind of have like from what it sounds like is, you set up these street courses. Obviously they don't change much, but I mean, you kind of have this good natural sense of direction is what it sounds like. Like you're able to kind of like look at something and just kind of have a feel for it.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what it is, to be honest, but I tend to do good at new tracks. And in a sense, that's kind of how street courses are, because you have to adapt so much through the weekend as the circuit evolves and grip changes lap over lap or corner over corner. And that's part of the reason why I've had such a good career, is because when I just show up to a new track, I feel like I get to grips with it really, really well. So I think that kind of aligns with how street course racing is, right? Because things change year over year, surfaces change, bumps change, track grip changes throughout the weekend. It's a pretty big swing, and I think the adaptability has some to do with it.
Kyle, let's talk a little bit about the opposing strategy, because the folks that started on the primary tire, although there was only 6 of them, all literally had like their best days ever. And it was
100%.
something that was very, very powerful. And you saw that there were some people obviously struggling, including myself. I think you saw what I was dealing with there, but there was, it was tough look there. But we figured out why. But the opposing strategy made it very interesting to watch. I, again, watched back and you're like, okay, these guys might have a shot here. And everyone ends up in the top 10, essentially. I think, well, Santino was like 11th, but how much did you know how well they were doing in the middle of the race, or how well did your team kind of keep you updated with where you needed to push and when?
Yeah, so in the beginning of the race, it's actually an interesting comment because I wasn't really aware of how those guys were doing. I forgot about that strategy. Usually, if you got Palou behind you, you're doing something right. So that was really my focus. And throughout the entire race, but periodically, like I would, when you're leading a race, I guess at some points I wasn't leading the race, right, because of off strategy. But on our strategy, we were leading the race, and you can kind of control the pace from there. So there'd be times in the race that I'd actually back up because I didn't want to go too fast, burn off my tires, burn too much fuel, open up our strategy, and then also because if you're going too fast, you're going to end up catching traffic a bit quicker, and you're more likely to get past because you're passing traffic than if you're just going slower, I would have to say. So there was a point in the race where I was running kind of mid 109s, I believe. Yeah, mid 109s, maybe high 109s. And the team came over and was like, hey, can you go faster? And
I heard that, yes.
And I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, I ended up going like over a half second faster. But they're like, after that lap, they're like, okay, that's good. We have Lundgaard's running 109.2s, and I'm like, I haven't seen that guy all day. But you realize, oh yeah, he was that first guy on the primary tires, and they kept warning me that they thought that he was a threat. And even after the race, Palou came up to me and he was like, "Were you saving a bunch?" And I was like, well, yeah, because I wasn't really focused on. And he was like, oh no, my team was harping on me to keep going, keep pushing, because they were really worried about Lundgaard, Dixon, all those guys that were on the primary tires, making sure that they didn't get that huge overcut on us, getting that clean air in the beginning of the race when we all pit like lap 6. So it was a big part of the race, right? It required me to push harder than I would have liked, if I'm being honest. Throughout the entire race. But yeah, like you said, they all had their best days doing it. I've been in that position too before where things just pan out perfectly for you. But that's a rare occurrence, right? I think the past 2 races we've had 0 cautions, and St. Pete, like McLaughlin tried it, right? He tried doing that same exact strategy, which has worked in the past. Yeah. But it did not work that day because we got a lap 1 yellow and he was screwed. So it's a bit of a gamble when you do that. But if you get a green flag race, I mean, all the power to them, because it's gonna make their day really, really good.
Let's talk a little bit about the yellows, because I forget what a full course yellow even looks like. I mean, this is, and I've been in IndyCar now a long time, and I feel like I don't know whether just everyone is much smarter now, or we understand that the limits of the car. I don't know what it is, but why do you think we've got to this point now where we've got two races in a row, full races, where we've just been green the whole way? And because honestly, from an entertainment standpoint, I watched the race. I thought it was great. However, a full course yellow does make things more exciting, and it does shift strategies, and it is like, oh, hey, this is crazy. But it's also a complete and random, you never know when one could happen. I don't know. What do you attribute it to? Because I find it to be like kind of crazy that we've done now 2 races in a row, and you're like, 1-2 seconds long in a pit stop ruins your entire race. Or like there's nothing that once one team, one car has a small issue, you never get it back. And whereas full course yellows helps those teams kind of recover and shift the race a little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
I mean, for thermal, at least, it was so hard to pass there that's definitely the main contributor for thermal. But for Long Beach, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, with the hybrid, there's less passing, so because the car weighs more. And if you actually look at the numbers, that's not true at all, right? There's as much passing as
there
ever.
was some great overtaking at Long Beach.
Yeah,
great overtaking.
It was honestly amazing racing, right? So it's not due to lack of racing. It's and I don't know if people have got their heads screwed on a little bit better than normal. I don't know if that's true. I definitely don't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal is. We just don't have yellows. But we say that now, and watch, and the next race will be just filled with yellows. That's exactly.
We're only 3 in.
I remember this. My first win at Nashville, or sorry, my second win it was at Nashville. I remember everyone was like, "Oh, this place, like, it's gonna be red flag city. It's gonna be yellows all the time." And we didn't get a yellow till like 10 laps to go, and I won the race because we didn't get that yellow early on. So everyone, it's funny how that works, right? You go into a race and everyone is a little bit gun shy because they're like, "Oh, there's gonna be yellows. I don't want to be the one that gets caught up in them." And then there's no yellows. And then you go into them now where it's like, all right, we have 2 without yellows. You know, there's not going to be yellow. Now I need to be more aggressive. And then there's just a ton of yellows. It's funny how that works.
It's a game of odds. It's a game of odds.
It's completely opposite. Yeah, it's completely opposite.
We're due for a yellow. We're due for a yellow.
We're due for a yellow for sure. I can imagine Barber's gonna be it, but hopefully you or I are not caught in that yellow.
Oh, that would be handy. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's no reason for it. There's the only thing that would point towards it is if cars were stalling and they were using the onboard starter to keep going, but that really has not been the case except for thermal before the race even started with Scott McLaughlin and Devlin, right? So there's absolutely
no attrition either.
Yeah,
no attrition. You know, Scott McLaughlin was the only one who didn't finish in thermal. You know, every single car finished in Long Beach. I mean, I can't remember the last time. That's wild.
I remember when I was with Foy, if you finished on the lead lap, you finished 15th at Long Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, crazy. Chase, I'll let you jump back in here.
Yeah, so I want to know, Kyle, we've got a good bit of racing coming up. We've only got 3 races down. You've got to win now. You're 34 points behind Palou. What are, if you can, give me like 2 tracks that we still have yet to visit that you may not feel as confident in, that you're really looking to change things up at this season so that you can keep that points cushion nice and high.
2 tracks that I feel like, I guess your question is like, which 2 tracks maybe is an underdog chance for me or something. Obviously not street course or something like that. So
yeah,
the 2 that I'm excited for that I really haven't done well at. I guess there's 2 races there is Iowa and then Milwaukee, right? Like I've had reasonable races there. It's like top 10s, right? I've never kind of broke into that top 5 range or podium or anywhere near a win, right? So, and that was a place last year. Those were tracks last year that I felt like it started to click. The second race at Milwaukee, I was sneaking into that top 5 range. If we were one of the guys with new tires at the end, we definitely would have finished top 5 or a podium. And then Nashville was phenomenal for us, right? We got the pole. We led that whole first stint, got caught out by a caution, then drove through the field a lap down and still snuck into top 4, right? And we could have had a podium or something if we played our cards a little bit better. So yeah, getting back to the ovals. I used to never be a big fan of ovals, if I'm being honest. And the past 2 years where you get a taste of how fun oval racing is when things are going right. There's nothing else like it. There is, so you get so excited to just get that feeling once again, right? Like Indy 2023 when I flipped, I had the best race car ever the stint before that last stint. And then we had a slow pit stop and that ruined everything for us. But like we were like, this car is going to win 100% if it wasn't for that pit stop and then the flip, right? And then last year Nashville, like it feels like you're in Mario Kart, you know, like you just got the star and you're just ripping through everybody when the car is going. So like that taste that you get of just like dominant because your car is so good is such a good feeling.
I
And you get
love
so
that.
excited to go back. So Iowa and Milwaukee are definitely ones that I'm looking forward to. I haven't done well there in the past, but hopefully this year that changes.
Well, it's a race with ovals between you and Palou. I can't wait to watch and see who's going to be.
I know.
the
Yeah,
one.
he hasn't done well on ovals recently either. So
Yeah. Kyle, I thought Long Beach, the atmosphere and the people that were there Friday, Saturday, Sunday was like nothing. Like Friday, it seemed like a race day. The amount of people that were there, the autograph lines. And then like we see today, obviously, I don't know if you saw, but the ratings come out and we're up against NASCAR and the Masters, and it's tough. It's definitely tough to understand. We talk about it in this show a little bit in the main part of the show, but if you were at Long Beach, you would say, "Hey, this IndyCar is booming." You know what I mean? Like
100%.
the event was fantastic. The people are there. I just it's hard to understand why people aren't watching either. Well, people are watching. It was more than last year watched. But what do you think it is about attending an IndyCar race that just it feels so good? And it's I think the crowd is just fantastic. Talk a little bit about what you felt the vibe was at the weekend.
yeah, I mean this year felt like the biggest ever across the weekend, right?
Sure.
Race day. I don't know if you know this, but there was definitely more stands on the front straight than there has been in the past. And they were filled before the start of the race. And the mounds were filled, the grass areas were filled, people on the fences everywhere, the garages were filled, the ones that they allow people in. It was a big event. The atmosphere, like you said, the atmosphere is huge. Like if you step outside your trailer, and people pay a lot of money to get those garage passes. If you step outside and you get pretty much bombarded by people, right? It was to the point that on podium, there were so many people that were in that area that they couldn't contain, that people were running up onto the podium to get pictures with us.
Oh my God.
And they couldn't stop them. IndyCar didn't have enough like personnel there to stop them from running up and getting photos and jumping in front of the camera. Like Chris Owens was so mad at people for doing that, right? He's losing it.
Oh man, that would be wild.
And, like, that's a good thing, right? Like, it's a good problem to have, that we don't have enough personnel to hold the people back that we have there watching IndyCar. And to your point, I really don't understand. I mean, this weekend is an anomaly. We were up against one of the coolest things in the world, the Masters, right? Like, I was watching it religiously all weekend. That's like one of the, like, I don't even watch F1 on the weekend. But if the Masters on, that's the only event that I'll ever like put on and watch during a race weekend.
And the internet was talking about it too. Yeah.
Shout to Rory.
I mean, so I mean, I get it why our numbers were down because of that. I mean, that I watched that back. I recorded it. That's one of the few things I actually record and watch, and it was a great event. So I don't feel bad about that, if I'm being honest. I think we produced a great product. I think it was a great show. As he said, looking back at the race, it was exciting. There was from my point of view, I thought I made it boring, but looking back at the broadcast, no, there was plenty to talk about. There were so many things happening, and there was too many things going on almost for the broadcast to cover. So there's no reason for it, if I'm being honest, on the numbers. But I hope that what we have now will continue to grow, because I don't know what we can do better, because it looks great.
I agree. I mean, we were gonna talk about this for a long time, but let's talk about the Indy Open test coming up, right? That's next for everyone. You guys obviously have to feel good heading into that too. You've had some fantastic cars at the Speedway before, but we need let's get 2 full days of testing with sunny weather. That'd be nice. Just some weather that cooperates with us. That test has been affected over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But how are you guys feeling with the Speedway program?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're excited for it, right? It's our first taste of the oval, once again. And, every year and that you go back there and you don't win, or you continue to drive there, it just hypes you up even more. And it is such a cool feeling to go back there, and that grows on you too. It's not like, oh man, we're going back to the Speedway again, like that. it constantly, it's like we get to go back to the speedway and drive again. It is so cool. It's so much fun. It's historic, and we look forward to it. Like you said, I hope that the weather's good. We also don't want, even if the weather is good and it's nice and cold, we also don't really want that, right? Because then it just makes everybody look really, really good. So we want some predictable, decent weather. So yeah, excited to get back around the oval. It's gonna be a great time. And to your point, we've produced really fast cars the past couple of years. Like last year, Colton like walked through the field, is just cruising around up front, right, and had an amazing race car. And we know why that is. So hopefully we can transfer that over to what we have this year across all 3 cars, or 4 cars with Marco, and have a really good year. But constant work goes into that place, right? We were the fastest Honda team last year, and they've worked hard, we've worked hard, and hopefully we're just now even better.
Well, Kyle, we appreciate you being here, man. It's great to talk to someone new. It's great that you're on the board early with a victory. I feel good that I predicted it. No big deal.
I appreciate it.
I think we all kind of knew that if he got the pole, it was game, dude. It was going to be.
I literally, wow, did I not say to you on the driver intro stage? I said I'm looking forward to talking to you this week on the show.
You did. You told me. I walked up with Granny, and I look forward to talking to you later on this week. That's exactly what we said. So that was cool. That was a good time. So
nailed it. All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you, and we will see you on the oval here very soon. And honestly, we should play golf this week because I feel like we need to get out there on the course. So
I think the weather's going to be good tomorrow. Let's try tomorrow.
Perfect. I'm in.
All right. All right,
thanks,
bud.
man.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Later, dude.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed Kyle Kirkwood. I think he's a great dude to talk to. Like Kyle a lot. Probably going to play golf with him this week. A deserving winner. Hard to believe he didn't win a race last year. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Really cool to get his thoughts on it. I love being able to chat with a winner. I hope we get different race winners the rest of the year. That'd be awesome. But either way, we're going to have great guests. We're going to have great interviews. Hope you guys enjoyed the Danny Sullivan interview, too. I know I mentioned that I wanted to chat with Mario Andretti on the show. I shook hands with Al Unser Jr. and Mario Andretti on the driver intro stage. And Mario grabs my hand, and I thought I was about to... He pulled me close. He's like, thanks for being here. I was like, oh, thank you, Mario. I was like, thank you for being here. I love Mario. He's a great guy. I got to have him on the show at some point. Just love interacting with him. And it was cool to have him and Al Unser Jr. there on the stage celebrating kind of the 50 years. Anyway, a lot of great racing history there. With that, next up on the IndyCar schedule is the Indy Open Test. Big 2 test days. Right now, it looks like we've got 34 confirmed entries for the Indy 500. I haven't heard anything about a 35th. Obviously, we saw Catherine Legg dedicate all of her funding and her sponsorship dollars to the NASCAR side of things, which is a very interesting platform or program. But, it costs about $1 million and a half to do the Indy 500. With $1 million, you can definitely do, several more Xfinity and Cup races, with the teams that she's doing them with. So, maybe it's just about trying something new, and we wish her all the best for that one for sure. But yeah, very excited to get back on the oval. For me personally, though, I am 100% ready to get to Barber. I really want to rebound there and rebound well. This team deserves it. They've done such a great job. I think so many things that we're kind of learning every weekend, and I know people don't really know. A lot of people don't truly understand what it takes every weekend to be mistake free and to have everything, to go up against the Penske's, the Ganassis, the McLarens, the Andretti's. But this team, did a great job with Stingray, which shows kind of where we're going as a group. And I believe both Stingray and I have worked well to kind of help get us there to that point. So can't wait for Barber. Indy Test is. There's a lot of new things for us there too, and a lot of new things for that team to grasp, but it'll be fun. So I don't know what kind of streaming or anything they'll have for that one. I hope that they do something with it. I think that'd be cool.
I want to
But,
try to get there. Hopefully.
yeah. Oh, all right. Well, that'd be good.
Got to bring my coach gear.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week.
The greatest event of its kind that's ever been run on.
Let's meet the drivers. We'll make up the field.
This week on, the Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week, I asked producer Bobby to tell us a year that we have not used before. And I was surprised. We have not used the 1981 Indy 500 before. The 1981 Indy 500 obviously won by Bobby Unser. But we have found we have used a couple drivers in this field, but we have found a good one because we have not used the 1981 Indy 500 before, but the 29th place finisher, Tom Klossler. Tom Klossler is our Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week.
Tommy.
Tom Klossler looks to be still alive. So great news. That's fantastic. Klossler started racing in a Corvair in 1968. After racing in that car for 4 years, moved into the Formula Ford single-seater series, went to Formula Atlantic, and all kinds of stuff. So did some Atlantic years, raced in the Can-Am series, and then this was truly his only Indy 500 start. So that's fascinating. Started in 30th position in the 1981 Indianapolis 500 and ended his race with a gearbox problem, so finished 29th. That's wild. So there you go. His best kart finish was in 6th position at Riverside, 1983. So yeah, that's kind of wild. Only one Indy 500 for Tom Klossler. Interesting.
That was Tom.
Yeah, 1981. So there you go. Ricky Treadway Random Indy 500 Driver of the Week. Thanks to everyone that asked for some Speed Street stickers over the weekend. Handed out a few Speed Street stickers. I'm sure Chase did as well. Really, really enjoyed that. Enjoy when folks ask for stickers. And I'm sorry I didn't have them at the autograph session too. Everything happened so fast. I got rushed right out of the engineering meeting straight to the autograph session, and then I can't leave to go back in because then I hold up the line. So sorry about that. I'll definitely try to remember for the next autograph session at Barber. But appreciate Mankind's support over the weekend. The Tire to Prick Chevrolet. Remember, you can buy a Tire to Prick shirt at the shop Indy, and a portion of the proceeds will be going to a great charity. So we appreciate you folks. Who knows who we'll have on next week, but we're going to try to make it an awesome one. And the countdown to the Indy 500 Open Test begins. It's coming up soon. We'll see you guys next week on Speed Street. Hey everyone, Connor Daly here. Please leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe to the channel as well. That would be very helpful. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you on the next episode of Speed Street.